Welcome to Empowering Chats with Susan Burrell. This is where we have deep, intimate conversations about self-empowerment and future existence. I am an intuitive healer and a light leader who has been called to activate other light leaders. So I'm curious, are you one of them? So by listening, lean in and see if you are ready to be that eternal potential you've been called to be. Using your bravery, your talent, your tenacity, can you be innovative and adventurous in order to activate your light and lead from that place? This is where we learn how to love ourselves from the inside out and love the whole world over and over again. Enjoy the show. Hi. So I'm not exactly sure what is going to come out of my mouth. All I was hearing when I was driving home from an appointment was fragments of fragments. Fragments of fragments. So I don't know. What does that mean? Okay. So I think in this time frame that we're living through, we are being fragmented and things are being shattered. And there are pieces that are dissolving, and there are pieces just laying around that are fragments. Fragments of what was, fragments of how we've handled things in the past. They could be karmic fragments. They could be lifestyle fragments. They could be relationship fragments. I'm not really sure. Except that I know, as I talk to people when I'm out and about, lots of people are feeling shattered. And with the feeling of being shattered, there is grief, there is astonishment, there is a feeling of, well, then who am I now? Or what do I do? Am I supposed to do something actively? Or what? So, fragments of fragments. So these are just bits and pieces of thoughts that I've been having over the last couple of months. So one of the things that has been feeling like a fragment to me is the anger, the hatred, the trying to find common ground when maybe there is no common ground anymore, that kind of thing. And fragmenting that duality, that polarity is fragmenting relationships, familial relationships. It's fragmenting friendships, long-standing friendships. And when there's fragments, sometimes you can't put the pieces back together, right? Sometimes you just have to sweep it up and toss it away, because really that thing that became shards or fragments is no longer usable, right? Or useful to you or to anybody. And so I think it's really important to pay attention to yourself, primarily, always, first and foremost. And I'm talking to me now, everybody, because I don't always do that. I don't always follow my own counsel, but paying attention to ourselves within, not the thing that I thought I was, not the thing I'm supposed to do, not the thing that I've always done because it was expected of me, but within myself. Where am I within myself? Am I feeling fragmented or shattered? And maybe perhaps just contemplate that. There's no fixing, there's no one absolute answer. There could be multiple answers of why we may be feeling fragmented. But noticing that first, then there is a process we can undergo requiring breathing, which I forget to do, and I teach meditation, holy moly. But requiring breathing and being still. I was just reminded at this previous appointment, this woman was sharing with me that she's feeling so agitated and upset that she feels like the world is she's been put in quicksand and she can't get out and she's struggling. And she said she finally realized when you're in quicksand, you can't struggle if you want to get out. You have to be absolutely still. And I thought, oh my God, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So as we are feeling or watching pieces around us or pieces of ourselves falling apart, fragmenting, dissolving, perhaps in the stillness, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's just standing on a patch of grass and being still for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever that stillness looks like for you, maybe it's meditating, just breathing, breathing, breathing. And then trying to still your mind, maybe focusing on one word like peace, peace, or a phrase, I am peace, or I am safe. But whatever it is that helps you become more still, I believe then we, me, might be able to discern what's happening within, and therefore what's happening within each of us can be, as we observe it, as we notice and observe it, then we can begin to, in the calmness or the stillness within, just kind of see that there might be a solution or an alternative path through the fragments, through the chaos. I don't have the answer to this, you guys. Like I said, this is like just literally, wow, fragments of fragments. So again, and I've said this before, maybe not recently, but when we individually can go within ourselves and see what that agitation is, recognize it, even kind of own it, what we're being agitated about or angry about or fearful of, when we see that it is in us, it's in us, we can begin to recognize and observe what is being projected outside of us. Because chances are, if you're feeling fearful inside, I'm raising my hand. All right, I'm raising my hand again. When we feel fearful inside, what happens is that fear gets projected outward, and then we begin to see all the other reasons and people that are scared to death. All of them, all of it, because it's really a projection, like in a movie theater, of the fear we hold within us. And the best way to deal with that fear that we hold within us is to address it, is to sit down with it, is to hold yourself like a hug or your inner child, whatever makes you feel, hold a pillow, I don't care. But sit down with that fear instead of just running around going, oh my God, I'm in quicksand, I'm dying, oh my God. No, sit down with your fear, face your fear, face your fear. And once you begin to face your fear, you might be able to see or discern that that fear isn't grounded in something that's happening in your life right now. That fear might be coming from your past or your ancestry or a karmic past life that just hasn't resolved itself. And guess what? When you face that fear, you get to resolve that karma immediately. And it's not hard. It's not hard. It just takes courage to face those fragments of fear within us. And once one gets addressed, you can begin to pull them all together and move it out of your consciousness, release it, not to project it out, not move it outside of you so then all your fear is outside, but move it out of your consciousness, kind of what Dumbledore does in Harry Potter, where he pulls those memories out. You just pull it out because it's not serving you if you're running around like Chicken Little or feeling like you're suffocating or wanting to hurt other people. And it's the same with the anger, and it's the same with the sorrow and the grief. Because fragments of fragments, people will fall away. Relationships you thought were rock solid, maybe because they're members of your family, or old friendships from your childhood that you thought were going to last forever. People change, and sometimes it's not for the better. So noticing within yourself where you're holding a pocket of fear, or where you're holding anger, or where you're holding resentment or judgment or grief. And then in a way it's taking ownership to go, oh, this part's mine too. Because I guarantee, my mother used to say, I double guarantee you, I don't know where that came from, that what you're seeing and observing outside of yourself are those pieces that you have not addressed. Some people call it the shadow. Looking within and addressing it within will begin to lift you out of that pit of, the pit of despair, but also that quicksand that many of us are feeling overwhelmed by, and beginning to breathe more freely. I don't know, but this just hit me. It's just, that's why I'm calling it fragments. Fragments of thoughts, ideas, suggestions. It's stuff I'm certainly trying. And also, I will again prompt you to journal. If you don't know what's going on inside of you, then just stream of consciousness, journal it out. Ask yourself, ask your inner wisdom within your heart, what is it I'm feeling fragmented about? Am I fragmented? Chances are yes. What am I afraid of? Am I afraid of anything? Chances are yes. What am I angry about? Am I angry about anything? Yeah, you are. If you're alive on planet Earth right now, most likely you've got some anger. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. It's just good to acknowledge so that then individually we can become self-responsible. We can stand in our own authority. We can embody the truth of our being, the truth of my being, the truth of your being, the truth of our being collectively, and embody it so that that truth, which is always a higher truth, you guys, the posturing and the negativity and the anger and the threats, that's not truth. That's fear. That's outpicturing of fear. And the bullying and the accusations, that's not truth. That's not truth. Really, where are we finding truth? I don't know. Truth with a capital T resides within each of us when we get still and stop struggling in the quicksand, and we breathe, and we begin to listen or acknowledge those fragments of pieces of ourselves that have been shattered, or fragments of society that have embedded themselves within us that aren't ours. Or maybe they were, and now we're like, okay, I don't think that works anymore. But again, so that we can lift those fragments into the light. Why the light? Because the light coming from a higher source energy, cleanses, purifies, and clears it all on a high frequency of love. But you have to recognize it first. You have to recognize that you may be shattered within. Your beliefs may be shattered. Your expectations certainly must be shattered. And because of that, the fragments that you might be feeling, do you really need to have them kept within you? Do you need to hold on to them tight? Or is it time for many of us to simply let that go. Let it go. Because you know what? It's not useful. It's not useful. It's not useful. I remember this is a friend of mine who had, I don't know if it was her china or she bought china at a thrift store and then broke it and um, pieced it together in her garden. So there was shards, literally, of these plates, china plates, all over. You know, she's an artist, and so that was her self-expression about the shards, the fragments. And to her, that must have been something really beautiful because it was there for years. But is it really beautiful? And why would you shatter yourself and keep all those pieces? Why would we allow anyone to shatter us and then keep those pieces? These are just questions. Like I said, these are fragments of ideas and thoughts that are just bubbling up within me. And I just felt like I needed to share it with you guys because we are doing empowering chats right now. So if you can find a place within yourself, where am I empowering myself? So then the question is, where do I need to embody the truth of my being? And then the question is, who am I? Who am I now? What am I? How am I? Who? Am I defining myself? Am I defining it by outer experiences? Am I defining it by doing? Or is it time to define yourself by simply being still and allowing the truth of your being to reveal itself to you? Because I'll tell you guys, that truth of your being is magnificent. It's magnificent. It's glorious, to quote a few songs. So, wow. Fragments of fragments. Just take a look within and see. Because as we're winding down 2025, now's the time. How do you want to reset for 2026? And I hope you don't want to bring any of those pieces, those fragments that what was crap, seriously, into 2026. If we can just leave this entire year behind us and all that it brought up and all that it stirred up all over the world, if we can just say, okay, and I'm done. Enough is enough, and move forward, following a high frequency of love, and allowing light to fill you and lead you from your heart. 2026 might end up being a decent year. I'm not going to promise anything because, boy, I had no idea this roller coaster in 2025 was going to happen. But anyway, just thought I'd share my fragments of thoughts and ideas. And there you have it. So until next time. And so it is. Namaste.
Well, that wraps up our empowering chat for the day. I hope you enjoyed it and found it inspired you to be more empowered. If you want to find out more about me, go to susanburrell.com, my website, and you can see what we're up to. I am teaching classes again, so there's a calendar of that, and you can register. You can check out my book, Live an Empowered Life, a 30-day journey with the companion inspiration cards, or you can access my guided meditations that go through Insight Timer. We got a bunch of stuff on the website. Check it out. And until then, namaste.